The Carolina Panthers opened the 2025 season and they are 0-2 on the year. Now, we know what happened last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost that matchup in pretty much blowout fashion. If you look at the box score, you may say, hey, the game wasn't that bad, but it was. The Carolina Panthers were never really in that matchup to begin with. It was pretty much a blowout game. But against the Arizona Cardinals, they performed better, especially late in this matchup. They lost this game 27-22. And we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. On the day, Bryce Young was 35 of 55. Let me say that again. 35 of 55. This man had 55 pass attempts in this matchup for 328 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. And he had a bad fumble to start the game as well. Just a terrible situation all around. Bryce Young has to do a better job of taking care of the football. He did get blitzed. Austin Corbett right now is not a good center for the Carolina Panthers. In week 1, he had a lot of missed snaps towards Bryce Young. The chemistry is not there. It's also up to the center to notice a lot of things at the line of scrimmage with the defense and to relay that to the quarterback. It's up to the quarterback to slide protection, recognize the blitz, get the football out quick, or just the accuracy was terrible. Andy Dalton goes down with that thumb injury. Bryce Young did play well. And I'm going to stick to my point here. When a player plays bad, I can just say that he's playing bad. He's not playing well at that time. When Bryce Young came back into the starting lineup against Kansas City, against the Philadelphia Eagles, against the Atlanta Falcons, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bryce Young performed better in those matchups. He played well enough for them to win. There was a lot of outside forces that hurt him in those matchups. Week 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he did not play well enough for them to win last week. And this game against the Arizona Cardinals, he had a solid outing after he had those turnovers. You lost by 5 points. Those 7 points that the Arizona Cardinals got on that fumble, that was pretty much to tell the game. He needs to be better from that standpoint. And Dave Canales here, the main identity with the Carolina Panthers, when they put Bryce Young back to the starting lineup, when Andy Dalton went down in that car accident with that thumb injury, they ran the football at a high clip with Chuba Hubbard. They tried to put Jonathan Brooks into the game, playing he tears his ACL in back-to-back years at the college level and last season. But they ran Chuba Hubbard into the ground. He was the main engine to this offense. Why on earth would any quarterback in today's game, I don't care if you're Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, why would you have your quarterback have 55 pass attempts in a matchup? And I know that you're down 27-9. You're not going to go out there and run the football over and over again because that runs time off the clock. You want to have those big hitters down the field. But from a personnel standpoint, it would make sense with the players you have on this offensive line to run the football, work off of play action, and have Bryce Young use his legs outside the pocket. It is so many times where Bryce Young is just purely this pocket passer with Dave Canales. He's more than just that. You can get him on the move. A lot of his big-time plays at the college level. His rookie year with Frank Reich, just a terrible situation with a terrible coaching staff and a terrible offensive line. Some of his best plays come outside the pocket. You look at what the Arizona Cardinals let Kyler Murray do yesterday. They let him move outside the pocket that got him going. They didn't do that until late in the game. And you only have one number 1 wide receiver in Tedoroy McMillan, who has been a phenomenal rookie so far. He has been great on the outside. He had his first 100-yard game against the Arizona Cardinals. He's a freak of nature. He's the most consistent player so far on the offensive end. And we're just 2 games in. You have a home run hit on him. I can't say enough great things about Tedoroy McMillan. But outside of him, there's a lot of questionable wide receivers on this roster. Hunter Renfrow, he is older. He's not the same Hunter Renfrow that he was with the Las Vegas Raiders because he had an illness off the field. He's missed a lot of time. But Hunter Renfrow had 2 receiving touchdowns yesterday, 48 receiving yards, 7 receptions. He can be a solid slot wide receiver. Let's not forget, the Carolina Panthers moved on from Hunter Renfrow. They brought him back when Jalen went down with his quad injury. And I can't wait to see Jalen back on the field. We'll get back into Bryce Young in a second here. But the wide receivers, Hunter Renfrow, solid. JT Sanders was the second leading wide receiver, and he's a tight end behind Tedoroy McMillan yesterday. He has 7 catches, 54 receiving yards. Xavier Legette, right now he's a bust. He's a terrible wide receiver. He single-handedly lost you games last year, and I gave him grace because he's a rookie. I'm not doing it anymore. That game against the Philadelphia Eagles, a crucial drop. You would have won that matchup last year. That game against Kansas City, Bryce Young gives him a dime on the sideline. He gives some separation. It's one of the best passes that he's had in his career. He drops the football. That would have went for a touchdown. You lost that matchup against Kansas City. It was an interception last year they put on Bryce Young. He gives Xavier Legette a beautiful ball deep down the sideline. He lets the cornerback come out of nowhere. He takes a football out of his hands. And you may say that I'm just blaming all this on Xavier Legette. I'm not. Bryce Young has to play better. Dave Canales has to coach better. And other wide receivers have to step up. But Legette had 8 targets in this Arizona Cardinals game. 1 catch, -2 yards, and they took him out the game. He's not a good NFL wide receiver. You bench him. You could go back to him the same way you did Bryce Young, but wide receiver is different from the quarterback position. When I see Tedoroy McMillan, who is a rookie, going out there and dominating, they're starting to put him in double coverage now. And you're in year 2 and you can't do this? And this was a man that a lot of scouts compared to be the next DK Metcalf because of the time that Dave Canales spent with the Seattle Seahawks. And he had a lot of great things to say about Xavier Legette. The route running is not there. The effort isn't there at all, and he can't catch the football. This may be a Jonathan Mingo 2.0 situation, and I hope that it's not because you spent a first-round pick on him. But when Jalen comes back, your top wide receivers will be McMillan, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfrow. And Jalen can really help out in a lot of tough situations because he was performing very well in the back half of last season. He just has to stay healthy. And he's an undrafted player. That's what even makes this more damning about Xavier Legette. You went in the bottom of the first round. Jalen comes into the league. He's undrafted and he's a better wide receiver than you already. But they need to run the football more. They need to make that an effort. There is no reason why Chuba Hubbard should only had 10 carries yesterday for 38 rushing yards. Rico, who had over 1,000 yards rushing with the Dallas Cowboys last year, he's not a true bell cow. The bell cow of this team is Chuba Hubbard. He has 6 carries, 9 rushing yards. And you can say that teams are stacking the box. Bryce Young is going out there. He's putting the football where it needs to be, even against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not stacking the box every single week. They just have not committed to the run game. They're going against the grain here. Dave Canales is trying to make Bryce Young be this top 5 quarterback. He's not ready for that, and he may never be a top 5 talent at that position. Go back to what brought you to the dance last year. Be aggressive up front, run the football, and take that pressure off of Bryce Young and make him that game manager right now. You brought in Damian Lewis, a huge contract. The same with Robert Hunt. You drafted Icky in the first round. You just gave Taylor Moton a contract extension. You have a lot of resources in this offensive line. And Bryce Young yesterday, he did get sacked 3 times. But when you have 55 pass attempts in today's game, this is the NFL, this is not college, you're going to deal with pressure, you're going to take some sacks. And the more times that you put the football in the air, it's a greater chance that you're going to turn the football over at a higher clip. But it was a better outing towards the end of this game because they were still fighting for Dave Canales, and that's all that you can ask for. But my biggest concerns will be the turnover problems with Bryce Young and the wide receivers with this roster outside of McMillan, and the same with Hunter Renfrow. And you play the Atlanta Falcons next week. Now defensively, I'll give this defensive coordinator a lot of credit. They were able to go out there and they were able to stop the run for the first time in a very long time. They stopped the run with James Conner and the same with Amari. They did a very good job yesterday against the run game. And the defense did not allow 27 points. Like I mentioned before, Bryce Young had that fumble that went for a touchdown. So your defense allowed 20 points. You did a very good job against Marvin Harrison Jr. On the back end of this defense, you still have one of the best cornerbacks in the game in J.C. Horn when he's fully healthy. He's dealt with injuries in his career. But you see the effect that he can have on a wide receiver. Look what he did week 1 against Brian Thomas Jr., one of the best receivers in the game last year. He shut him out completely. He had to get a rushing touchdown last week. Mike Jackson is a solid number 2. Trayvon Mooring is a very good safety. He's better than any of the safeties that you had last year on this roster. The pass rushers, they're still not in a good situation in my opinion. I still don't see those pass rushers going out there and putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but you have Derrick Brown. Derrick Brown's a tremendous run stopper, can push the pocket. Outside of him, they're going to need guys like Princely to step up, and the same with Patrick Jones. Tershawn Wharton, he's still going to be out over the next couple of weeks dealing with that hamstring injury, so you have to scheme up pressure. We all know that A'Shawn Robinson, he's not getting to the quarterback at a high clip. That's not his game. A'Shawn Robinson, at this point in time, being 30 years old, he's a pure run stopper. That's the name of his game. That's it. And the same with Bobby Brown. So I'm worried about the pass rushing situation here for the rest of the season. But if they can go out there and they can continue to stop the run at this level, and they don't have to have a top 5 rushing defense, even though that would be amazing. They don't have to have a top 10 rushing defense. If they can just be 12 through 15 and force teams to test out your secondary with J.C. Horn, that should work out into your favor. But I'm not giving up on the Carolina Panthers. It's 2 games. Let's not forget what happened last year. They went out there, they benched Bryce Young. He comes back into the fold. He plays better. This is a marathon. You have 15 games left in the season. It's not a sprint. But you have to put up a better fight next week against the Atlanta Falcons. And it's not a must-win game just yet, but it is a division game. If the Carolina Panthers come out on top next week, you're 1-2. You lose that matchup, you're 0-3. But this is about seeing how good Bryce Young can be in this system in year 3 with Dave Canales. Year 3 with the Carolina Panthers, year 2 with Dave Canales. Because a lot of Carolina Panthers fans, they'll say it's more than just 2 games. It's 3 years of Bryce Young. That first year was terrible. You can't hold all that on Bryce Young. That was a terrible first year because of bad offensive line, bad coaching with Frank Reich. You had one of the worst coaching staffs in the NFL. And Thomas Brown became your interim offensive coordinator. Then Frank Reich takes the call sheet back. Then he gives it back to Thomas Brown. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. And I look at Frank Reich right now, very nice guy. His time in the Indianapolis Colts wasn't great. His time right now at Stanford is also not great. He's not a good football coach anymore. And Dave Canales, he's still young into his career. I'll say let it play out, give it more time. And if Bryce Young starts to slip and he's not playing well, I will let you guys know. And I look at yesterday's game. He did cost him the matchup with that interception and with that fumble for 6. But this is a group effort here. And if you're on that ledge of saying, let's get rid of Bryce Young, let's go into a different direction, I will remind you of certain names. Baker Mayfield. They moved on from him. He's in this division. He's become one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold did play better with the Carolina Panthers than Baker Mayfield. He's no longer here. He's now with the Seattle Seahawks. He had a great year last year with the Minnesota Vikings. So your situation does matter. That's why I'm not on that ledge right now. I'm just saying, get rid of Bryce Young, put in the backup quarterback, and let's just go for a quarterback in the future. Because you look at the quarterbacks right now at the college level, they don't look that great. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers for the rest of the season? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, when each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.